Members' motion with no legislative effect. Honourable Ma Fung-kwok's motion on keeping pace with the times and updating cultural policy. 2 members will move amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon Mr. Ma Fung-kwok to speak and move the motion. Then I'll call upon Mr. Dennis LEUNG and Dr. Erik Yim to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I now ask Mr. Ma Fung-kwok to speak and move the motion. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed. In this day and age, culture is generally understood to be a general system covering intellectual, academic, visual, many different forms of performances. It also incorporates different values, culture, history. It also covers history, education, religion, and technology. Culture is also an economic drive. It also works towards a social development by meeting the spiritual needs of citizens. In 1998, I moved a motion on diversity with identity evolution through innovation. Back in 1999, I moved another motion to set up the Culture and Heritage Commission in charge of formulating policy. The government took on board my view and set up the commission. 2 years later, there was a first policy recommendation by the commission. It talks about the respect of freedom of expressions, covering about 108 recommendations. In the past 2 decades, the government has been working to promote cultural development. And the LCSD was set up, and there was a number of funds established. The devotion was increased to $7.3 billion from $2.7 billion. And we have seen a number of facilities being built. The recent one is the Kai Tak Sports Park. At the same time, we've gone through major changes. Traditional cultural industries have diminished. We have been facing keen competition from neighboring regions, and there is also emergence of technology, say for example AI. On top of that, there is the rapid change of geopolitical situation. After that, there was a change in cultural understanding of youngsters. It's also related to what happened in 2019. In 2013, there was the proposal of Belt and Road initiatives. We need to have a better understanding of our own history and culture so that we can make contributions. In the process of rejuvenation of our nation, we also have to enhance our cultural confidence. Under the 14th Five-Year Plan, Hong Kong is positioned as an international center for cultural exchange. In 2022, the Hong Kong SAR government has made adjustments to their organizational structure. In 2023, there was the reinstatement of the Culture and Heritage Commission. In addition, there was the blueprint being promulgated after the restructuring of the government by forming the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau. We don't want to be taken over by neighboring areas. Our culture policy and planning should move with the times. There is a need to update our culture policy. Cultural development and spatial development go hand in hand. There are about 150 facilities, which is far from enough. It's very difficult for the industry to make use of facilities and venues to develop. We have the Western Kowloon Cultural District, but it's not enough. We need to have a review on venue availability. There needs to be a division of labor of different art groups. For smaller groups, we need to provide flexibility. We also need to revitalize the historical buildings. We need to make use of vacant space in markets and other areas. We need to liaise with the AMO, the Antiquities and Monument Office, and other organizations to make good use of our space. Talent is another challenge. There are about 200,000 practitioners in this area, which accounts for about 5% of our total workforce. We only have one tertiary institution on education of this area. There are about 1,300 students. In terms of secondary and primary education, there is no consistency. There was an expansion of the talent list in 2023. But we face keen competition from neighboring regions. We need to strengthen our pool of talent. Cultural exchange is important. In 2024, we have about 45 million visitors. We can draw reference from Shenzhen and Macau. We can greatly enhance our cultural facilities to develop our industry to reach the goal of value of $200 billion. We can make use of technology in different areas, say, for example, new media as well as esports. We have made great achievements, but we have a small talent pool. We've started late. We need to catch up. The East Kowloon Cultural Hub is to be built. If we want to make good use of different platforms as incubators, we need to work with different industries. We need to also set up funds, enhance our infrastructure, and attract funds so that within 3 to 5 years, we will be able to build ourselves into a cultural technology center. Technology has made great breakthroughs. Say, for example, generative AI. The government needs to legislate as soon as possible to protect the intellectual property economy. There should also be certification, authorization of data of blockchain. We need to allocate resources and accord priorities. Culture, sports, and tourism have been amalgamated, but that is still insufficient. There has not been any update in the forms of funding to art groups. The ETOs have not been made full use. We haven't seen any increase in the resources devotion. The invigorating policies have not been well used. We do need to inject more resources into our cultural sector. We've gone through the doldrums. Our industry structure is still loose. Venues are expensive. There are limitations and restrictions. We don't have sufficient support in midstream. We don't make good use of digital capacity. We need to work with the GBA. We need to leverage on their infrastructure as well as the advantage in digital development. Cultural confidence and security go hand in hand. The cultural sector faces a number of challenges. The policy before the handover focus was lopsided. We need to enhance our cultural confidence. Technology enables infiltration of Western culture. The government have been working on promoting traditional culture. Our weak industry lacks the ability to improve. So we need to work on boosting our cultural confidence and cultural security. We need to make use of Chinese culture, focusing on diversity with identity. We need to enhance our legal framework. We need to work with different organizations and partners to enable our diversified development. We need to enhance the new quality productive forces. Culture is important to harmony. This gives us a chance to listen to views. I hope the administration will take on board our views and review the cultural policy, make adjustments, keeping pace with the times, I so speak.
代議議題呢，就係馬鳳。
I now put the question to you, Mr. Ma's motion be passed. Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of the motion debate on keeping pace with the times and updating cultural policy. The principle of one country, two systems is a cornerstone of the stability of Hong Kong. The Hong Kong SAR government has a great degree of autonomy. It needs to give full play to the principle of one country, two systems. We need to keep our traditional lifestyle. We also have our own strengths to become the hub for regional intellectual property. We have world-class universities in Hong Kong. There's a lot of exchange when it comes to culture, so Hong Kong is a melting pot of East and West cultures. We have vibrant cultures. We are an important gateway to the world. But we need the principle of one country, two systems, and mainstream values in order to develop culture. We need to keep advancing. Otherwise, we lack diversity when it comes to culture. Cultural policies need to be updated regularly. In 2000 April, the government established the Culture and Heritage Commission. In 2003 March, the Commission published the Culture and Heritage Commission Policy Recommendation Report. It's been 2 decades. Things have changed. Technologies are developing by leaps and bounds. We have Hong Kong Palace Museum, M+, Kai Tak Sports Park, and so on. We have different infrastructures right now. That's why we need to keep pace with the times so that we can catch up with all the changes in society. The FTU supports the motion moved by Mr. Ma to keep pace with the times and update our cultural policy. We need to monitor the cultural and arts projects being implemented in the community, especially those subsidized by the Hong Kong government. We need to safeguard national security. We also need to strengthen the discovery, collation, and educational publicity of history and culture. Hong Kong is part of China. There are a lot of different historic sites in Hong Kong. There are different antiquities in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has gone through a lot of historical events. We need cultural and art creations to showcase the spirit of the culture of Hong Kong. That's also how we can drive the local economic development. We need to strengthen cultural confidence and historical confidence. This will help forge a sense of social cohesion. This will also enhance the sense of participation on the part of members of the public in Hong Kong. It's civic responsibility to take part in national affairs. Cultural confidence is especially important to young people and children. We need to enhance their resilience. We need to add positive energy to young people. We need to tell good stories of China and Hong Kong with young people. That's why the FTU suggests we need to attach more importance to the integration between culture and economy. We need to help young people to develop from the cultural perspective. We also need to safeguard the quality of employment when it comes to the creative industries. We need to compile history when it comes to union history. At the same time, we need to promote Chinese culture. I hope that the government will continue to conduct reforms when it comes to local curricula. Hong Kong is the gateway between China and the world. How can we tell good stories of China and Hong Kong? We need to keep pace with the times when it comes to cultural policies. This matters. I so submit. Thank you, Deputy President. Mr. Erik Yim. I thank Mr. Ma for moving this motion. The motion debate is on keeping pace with the times and updating cultural policy. This will help different quarters of society to discuss this issue at great length. Mr. John Lee, the chief executive, said, Hong Kong is not a cultural desert. Instead, we are a melting pot of different cultures. We have a strong foundation. The Chinese nation has 5,000 years of history. Hong Kong is an East-West center for international cultural exchange. Hong Kong has a multicultural atmosphere. We need to manifest the unique advantages of two systems in international arts and cultural exchanges and cooperation. We need to keep innovating. That's how we can enhance the cultural aspect of Hong Kong. The principle of one country, two systems gives Hong Kong unrivaled strengths and advantages. We have free flow of information. We have an open market. We have a well-connected network. All these provide good foundation for a multicultural environment in Hong Kong. We need to keep showcasing our advantage as the Pearl of the Orient. We need to keep updating our cultural policy in order to build a more vibrant cultural ecosystem. The government should put culture at the top of the agenda when it comes to sustainable development. The blueprint for arts and culture and creative industry development was announced last year. We need to keep cultural creation. We need to bring culture and arts into society. We need to have different art spaces in Hong Kong. This will enhance the international cultural landscape in Hong Kong. We need to make the melting pot of culture in Hong Kong mesmerizing. We also need to embrace a digital filter. We need to use arts education, VR, and so on to showcase our masterpieces and cultures. This will remove geographical boundaries and restrictions. We also need to foster international exchange. That's how we can play our role of East-West Center for International Cultural Exchange. Hong Kong is a super connector. We need to embrace more cultures in Hong Kong. That's exactly how we can attract more performing groups to come to Hong Kong to stage performances. That's how we can encourage the culture and arts industries in Hong Kong to go global. Cultural innovation is as important as water to us. Hong Kong is an amazing gateway to help different cultures to go global. We need to attract more cultures to come to Hong Kong so that we can tell the good stories of Hong Kong. I also submit, I speak in support of Mr. Ma's motion and Mr. Dennis Leung's amendment. I also hope members will support my amendment. Thank you.
旅遊局副局
Undersecretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. President, I'd like to thank Mr. Ma Fung-kwok for moving this motion, Mr. Erik Yim and Mr. Dennis LEUNG for moving the amendments, so that we have this opportunity to discuss the implementation of cultural policy. Mr. Ma wrote to the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau on the 11th of June, urging the Bureau to address the issues raised in today's motion proactively, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Mr. Ma mentioned the Culture and Heritage Commission established by the Hong Kong SAR government in the year 2000, which advised the administration on cultural development policies and deployment of resources. The then Culture and Heritage Commission published a policy recommendation report in 2003, which put forward recommendations at both the macro policy and concrete implementation levels, laying the foundation for the subsequent cultural development. I believe that Mr. Ma is also aware that the government has set up a brand new Culture Commission in 2023, chaired by the Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism, to advise the government on how we can realize our vision on becoming an East-West Center for International Cultural Exchange. Thanks to the active participation and contributions of the members of the Commission, including Mr. Vincent Cheng here and Mr. Kenneth Falk, and so on, in November 2024, the Arts and Culture and Creative Industry Development Blueprint was published. It lays down a clear vision, principle, and 4 strategic directions for the future development of Hong Kong's arts, cultural, and creative industries so as to enable key strategic partners, stakeholders of different sectors, and the local arts and culture community to work together towards a common goal. The blueprint summarized the government's efforts in promoting the development of cultural facilities, arts creation, talent nurturing, culture exchanges, and creative industries over the past 20 years or so. During this period of time, there have been important changes in the local arts, culture, and creative scenes. We have been, for example, hosting more international arts and cultural events. There has been a rapid development of art technology, and so on. In response to the changes in the society and the development of the cultural and creative industries, the government has, over the years, continued to review and improve various policies and mechanisms on culture and creativity, as well as the mode of cooperation with the industries in order to keep abreast of the time. The outline of the 14th Five-Year Plan, published in 2021, supports the development of Hong Kong into an East-West Center for International Culture Exchange. This new positioning is in line with Hong Kong's cultural development in the past and represents an important opportunity for us. The blueprint proposes a total of 71 measures to develop Hong Kong into an East-West Center for International Culture Exchange, covering various aspects of the arts, culture, and creative industries, and has covered different parts of the motion and amendments. Immediately after release of the blueprint, we briefed the LEUNG panel on home affairs, culture, and sports in December 2024 on it. During the meeting, I pointed out that the blueprint was the starting point for the government to carry out our work. We will explore Hong Kong's strengths in culture and creativity and mobilize various sectors of the community to consolidate our position as an East-West Center for International Culture Exchange. We'd like to thank the members for the views given during the meeting. We have collected some suggestions from the members afterwards, and we'll take them into account as we take forward our various projects. In the past 6 months since the publication of the blueprint, we have been working actively to implement various measures, such as providing financial support to the film industry for the production of films that promote the excellence of Chinese traditional culture and launching the Hong Kong Intangible Cultural Heritage Month for the first time this month. President, in his keynote speech delivered at the opening ceremony of the 5th anniversary of the promulgation and implementation of the Hong Kong National Security Law Forum last week, Mr. Xia Baolong, Director of the Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office of the Central People's Government, stressed that it is now an important time for Hong Kong to achieve a new leap forward. The government and various sectors of the community should stay united, seize the opportunities, and act with commitment to foster development and safeguard national security. We should capitalize on our unique advantage of having support of our motherland while being connected to the rest of the world so as to promote high-quality development. Mr. Xia also said that we should treasure the cultural diversity of Hong Kong. The Bureau will continue to leverage on our institutional strengths under one country, two systems and experience international exchanges to promote Chinese culture. We will deepen international exchanges and cooperation to develop culture, arts, and creative industries with international influence. President, I will listen to members' views on the policy on the development of cultural, arts, and creative industries during today's debate. I will respond to them in my closing remarks later. Thank you.
好議員
Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you, Deputy President. I thank Mr. Ma for moving this motion. China has a lot of port cities. Hong Kong is one of them. The role of positioning of a port city is to foster connections. Some focus on trade. Some focus less on trade and cultural exchange. Under the 14th Five-Year Plan of the nation, Hong Kong is moving towards an East-West Center for International Cultural Exchange. We need to dovetail with the national development and tell the good stories of China to the world. We need to strengthen our local characteristics. We are a melting pot of Eastern and Western cultures. We need to tell the good stories of Hong Kong to the world. The government announced a blueprint for arts and culture and creative industries development. There are a lot of different elements covered, say diversity with identity. We need to seize upon our opportunities and strengths. We also need to make adjustments taking into account the circumstances. The Chinese culture is diverse. It is inclusive. Under the principle of one country, two systems, we need to leverage our own positioning to promote the culture of Hong Kong. There are a lot of disputes around the world. Hong Kong is an East-West Center for International Cultural Exchange. Our role is becoming more and more important. We need to foster human-to-human connections. Global South, Belt and Road Initiative, ASEAN, these are our partners. We need to understand one another. We need to know how we can better showcase our culture and explain it. As settled in the blueprints, we have high art, and we also have culture about our day-to-day life. The city is the background or the backdrop. What I mentioned could coexist. High arts touch our souls. It touches our spirits. But it has a more profound influence on us. We accumulate more knowledge and we understand the world better with these cultures. We need to add vibrancy to culture. A sense of occasion shouldn't be abstract. It should be combined with what we see in real life to strike a chord with locals. If we didn't have Da Pai Dong, if we didn't have Wang Tai Sin Temple, they would simply be ordinary venues. We need the smell of incense. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to feel the culture of Hong Kong. Culture shouldn't be skin-deep labels. Culture has a lot to do with our life. Culture is our future. We embrace a lot of different global cultures. We need to showcase our spirit of the city. We have cultural diversity. We have a prosperous skyline. There are a lot of different scenes in the city. We have the urban area and we also have the countryside. In Hong Kong, we have people speaking Cantonese, but there are non-locals who speak even better Cantonese. If you go to a local restaurant, when the waiter asks you to speak English, it doesn't mean that their Cantonese isn't good enough. This shows that how we can tell the good stories of China and spread our charm. I also submit I support the motion and all the amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Kenneth Fok. Thank you. I'm a legislator of the Arts constituency. I thank Mr. Ma for moving this motion for us to have a discussion on cultural policy. I'm afraid I won't be able to go into depth with just 5 minutes. Time has changed. The policy should change with it. Mr. Ma talked about a report of the Culture and Heritage Commission in 2003. The government has been active in promoting the development of culture. Just now, the CSTB has announced the blueprint. The tenure of the blueprint follows on the policies back in 2003. I give recognition to the administration. I think the blueprint itself is just a document showing us the directions. For culture to play a bigger role, we then need to explore better coordination and cooperation among the different departments, and we also need to tap into the potential of the market. I've been talking about venues. A blueprint talks about making better use of venues. Just one line. In Shanghai, there is also a measure to make good use of a smaller space. It's been very successful. Their approach is for the government and the industry to work out the implementation. I think we can do the same. We will explore the use of a space and create space. We have the Hong Kong PSG planning, Hong Kong planning and guidelines. The supply of art and culture facilities is based on the Hong Kong PSG. But that is not enough. Do we need to review the planning standards guideline? I hope the CSTB will talk to the Development Bureau and other bureaus and departments to plan for more facilities to promote development. Art and culture accounts for 3.8% of our GDP. It's now risen to 4.6%. It can be our new growth engine. If we are to keep the momentum, the government needs to attract funds from the market, not just from the pocket of the government. There are successful cases overseas. There are well-known facilities and projects supported by the market, by charitable funds or family funds. In the US, there are well-known museums. They are funded by private funds. In Korea, you've heard of well-known corporations that have invested heavily in art and culture. They've also built facilities for the use of the industry. In addition, they provide support to practitioners. We have COCA, which is a dedicated department to promote cultural development. These are just examples. Don't get yourself boxed in. Make good use of capital in the market. Think of new ways to combine the highly efficient market and enable government to reach your target. We can leverage on our financial market. Perhaps funds can be diverted to devote in cultural brands and projects with potential. Make good use of our financial market to allow cultural enterprises to be listed. There can be preferential tax treatments to attract headquarters of these corporations to come to Hong Kong. Perhaps we can provide a one-stop service to attract sizable corporations to set up in the WKCD. We need to be purpose-driven. We need to work with the GBA to enrich the ecosystem. We can work on a complementary basis to enhance our soft power. I so speak. Mr. Loh Wai Kwok. President, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Ma for moving the motion. I also thank the two members for their amendments. I fully agree with the main theme of the motion. Cultural policy needs to keep pace with the times, to cater to the changes and to meet the changing needs of the people. A government is advocating building the country into a cultural powerhouse. We need to seize the opportunity, strengthen our capability and our position as a East meets West Culture Center for International Cultural Exchange. We need to increase our resource allocation to strengthen our ecosystem. Our positioning is to be an East meets West Center for International Cultural Exchange. In 2024, the blueprint was promulgated, which paves a clear way for future development. However, we need to combine talent, capital, and technology. We need to enhance the megafunds event. We need to enhance the KPIs. We also need to strengthen the ability to match funds with events. We need to make sure that there is a stable source of funding. We need to enhance talent training and industry development. Land should be earmarked in the northern metropolis for large facilities as well as a cultural park. We also need to meet the needs of visitors and local residents. The WKCD as well as a Palace Museum should be used. These are landmark venues. Large-scale cultural activities should be organized. We have brands such as our book fair, our Finmark. We also have events at the Asia World Expo and the Hong Kong CEC. We need to strengthen them. We also need to better integrate into our national development. We can make use of music, film, exhibitions to showcase our brilliant Chinese culture. We can also promote intangible cultural heritage and Hong Kong characteristics. We can work with a GBA to organize exchanges of art groups and stage cultural events. Process should be streamlined. We can also tap into the GBA as well as Belt and Road markets. We work together with the GBA to tell good stories. We also need to showcase the advantage of one country, two systems. We need to strengthen international exchange. We have a very internationalized curative ability. We can attract organizations to come to Hong Kong. We can also the government should also encourage organizations and bodies to go global. We can combine traditional Chinese culture with the culture of Hong Kong. Support is of utmost importance. In the budget, among the many different raise in fees, the employment visa fees has been increased. So for entertainers who come to Hong Kong, say for example musicians, performers, the visa fee has been increased from 350 to 1,200. That is a heavy burden. I asked the administration to provide waivers so that more overseas cultural and art talents and those from the mainland will come to Hong Kong. This will strengthen our position. I so submit. Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you. In 1967, the UNESCO first provided a definition. They said that cultural policy to make good use of existing resources to meet specific cultural needs. In 2021, there was the first consultation paper of the Cultural and Heritage Commission. It says that the Hong Kong culture is a part of Chinese culture. We build on the Chinese culture and we look outward. We built Hong Kong into a diversified International Cultural Center. Culture also built people. In 2020, there was a second consultation report of the Commission. It says that, ethnic minorities have injected diversity into the Hong Kong culture. We need to be inclusive in our cultural policy. When it comes to cultural development, Hong Kong is one that integrates different cultures. The 14th Five-Year Plan clearly positioned Hong Kong as an East-Meets-West Center for International Cultural Center. The CMAB's website has stated that the positioning is a recognition by our country. In the 20th plenary session, Hong Kong's strategic position was mentioned. And this year, there was also the mention about deepening Hong Kong as an international exchange platform. How do we make good use of our advantage? How do we keep pace with the times and update our cultural policy? I have some suggestions. First, strengthen our diversified cultural environment. We are one of the 3 major international financial centers. We've been enhancing our advantage as an international city. When it comes to diversified cultural center, we lag seriously behind New York and London. According to the census in 2006 to 2021, for non-ethnic Chinese, the population has increased from 340,000 to 620,000. However, the audienship of the RTHK English channel in 2017 has dropped to 240,000. The CEDB said in a panel meeting that we need to cater to the needs of English-speaking and Chinese-speaking audience. If we have good English program content, then more people will watch these programs. I asked the administration to review the development of English channels so that Hong Kong will once again be an international metropolis. On top of enhancing our bilingual and bilingualism, we can also start with halal certification. In this way, we can attract visitors to come to Hong Kong, and also overseas talents will come to Hong Kong to further their career. We need to attract talents. I've said that over 90% of applicants from the top talent entrance scheme are from the mainland. For other admission schemes, most of them are mainlanders. Over 90% of graduate students are from the mainland in 2024 and 25. Overseas chambers of commerce said to us that youngsters under the age of 30 from Belt and Road countries are very attracted to Chinese culture. We can shift our focus to attract this pool of talents to meet our needs. I asked the government to continue to strengthen their policies to have a combination of measures, lay a good foundation for future development in the coming 2 or 3 decades.
Mr. Chow Man-kwok, thank you. The President speaks in support of the motion moved by Mr. Ma Fung-kwok. Under the 14th Five-Year Plan, our country supports Hong Kong's position as an East-Meets-West Center for international cultural exchange. The government also established the CSTB, Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau, to promote the development of culture in Hong Kong. Last year, the government also published the Blueprint for Arts and Culture and Creative Industries Development. This shows the determination of the government to reform and upgrade the industry. I'd like to talk about the promotion of the publication industry and review the operation of the West Kowloon Cultural District Authority. a part of the blueprint mentioned that the government will promote the publication industry. How should we do that? I think that the administration should establish a development fund for the industry to promote digitalization and talent training for the industry to help them go global. The publication industry has two ways out, basically. Apart from publishing textbooks, they also need to publish popular books. However, given the aging population and the low birth rate, the industry is shrinking. Publication industry is crucial to showcase our freedom of speech, and it is important to the development of our soft power. I think that we should learn from the Cantonese Opera Fund and the Film Development Fund by establishing a fund for the publication industry to develop digital books market and to introduce digital textbooks into schools. On top of that, we have 74 million Chinese living abroad. We should participate in book fairs in other countries so that we can identify agents so that we can sell books on telling good stories of Hong Kong and Chinese in other countries. Second, we should reshape Hong Kong as a pop culture capital. Our entertainment industries is important to us. Now, in terms of the pop and Canton pop industry, we have to promote Canton songs. Many people expected that the government invite the 4 pop kings of Hong Kong as the opening singers for Kai Tak Stadium because they are the most influential figures in Asia in terms of singers. And we see that a local television program organized a singing program focusing Cantonese songs, which have been very popular in the mainland and Hong Kong. So I think that the government should encourage the local industry and stakeholders to promote popular Cantonese culture in the Greater Bay Area. On top of that, over the past half a decade, the Cantonese culture has been growing up with us and enriched the culture of Asia. It has been a soft power of us. However, given the trending of online entertainment, the local film industry is slacking. So I think that it's time for us to promote the development of local film industry. There were quite a number of local movies with local characteristics that were very popular. I think that the CSTB and the CEDB should leverage on the intellectual property so that we can create or turn Hong Kong into a value-added center for intellectual property. For valuation of IP, trading of IP, and commercialization of it, as well as industrialization of it, we can work on these areas so that we can promote the long-term development of the local industry. Lastly, I'd like to also talk about the WKCD. As after COVID, there is revenue recorded for the WKCD, but there's still a $600 million deficit. How can we improve it? How can we not rely on selling properties and lands to create revenue? For senior management of the WKCDA who enjoy a high remuneration, we should rely on them to promote the district better. Thank you. Mr. Chan Chen-ying. President, I speak in support of Mr. Ma Fung-kwok's motion that is rarely discussed in the Council. Since the publication of the policy recommendation report in 2003, there is increasing exchanges in terms of culture across different countries and places. The administration has been trying to industrialize and internationalize our local cultural scenes. They have been encouraging different parties and stakeholders to participate in the development, and many arts groups therefore become very famous, and we have commissioned a number of facilities such as M+ Museum, Palace Museum, and the Kai-Tak Stadium. The West Kowloon Cultural District has become an important platform for international cultural exchange. Many international and large-scale performances and exhibitions were staged here. Coupled with many diverse events, Hong Kong has become a very important cultural capital. We have organized quite a number of cultural festivals, such as the Basel Art Exhibition, the French May, and the Autumn Festival. This all promote the exchange of culture. Recently, the CSTB has been working with the Basel to organize or create an immersive bar to allow visitors to experience Chinese cuisine. This is commendable. In fact, when Hong Kong organized international exhibitions, summit, we should promote our culture in tandem. The Tourism Commission and the CSTB should include experiential workshops in these exhibitions. We can allow, say, people to experience Chinese calligraphy, to offer, say, Chinese local cuisine, or give out souvenirs so that participants who come from other countries can learn more about our local culture. In order to promote local culture in other countries, the government can consider creating cultural festivals in different places. We should regularize these festivals to create a brand for ourselves so that we can strengthen our position as a East-West Center for international cultural exchange. These should not limit to highbrow art performances. We should also include, say, local delicacies, art workshops that caters to the needs of different people. Through these diversified events, we can showcase our vitality and our culture. Cultural development and influence come from participation of the community. We need everyone to participate so that we can be immersed in a rich cultural atmosphere. We organized the first ICH month this month. Through organizing various workshops, we have been promoting the intangible cultural heritage of Hong Kong. These events were positively received, but the quotas have been limited, and that's why not many people were able to participate in the events in the ICH month. Many of the activities are one-off. I think that the government should review it and expand the scale of the events. I see that there were primary and secondary school students who participated in lion dance. We should not make light of these experiences. They promote the depth and breadth of our culture. I think that the administration should try to make sure that these art and cultural groups are sustainable. We should encourage the schools to introduce ICH in the classrooms so that our culture can integrate into the lives of the people. President, Hong Kong has been relying on financial, logistics, and transport sectors. There's still some way for us to go before we can become an East-West Center for international culture exchange. I think that the administration should look into how we can achieve the goal. I speak in support of the motion and the amendments. I now suspend the meeting until 9 a.m. tomorrow.